Okay, why do all of my vlogs start with me having wet hair? Just when I get out of the shower, that seems like the perfect time to talk about some of my books before I get my day going. So, it is actually September 1st, and I know we still have 21 days of summer, but September 1st for me, that's fall. I don't care. I am such a fall person. I know that that is true for pretty much everybody, probably all of you watching this, but I just love fall so much, especially when it comes to books. I am so ready for Emma Spears books, spooky books, just really books that you can sink your teeth into, some like deeper fantasy. So I have so many books I want to read. I've posted on my blog a September to maybe read because I'm such a mood reader. And I also posted a video of my most anticipated September releases. So I'll link to both of those below. But there's so many good books coming out in September. And I know everybody's doing the Magical Readathon and Booktubeathon, is that what it's called? Bookoplathon. And I always get FOMO with those things, but I just know that I won't stick to them. It's just not my thing. But anyways, I am actually reading For the Wolf by Hannah Witten, and I am not that far into it, about 50 pages, and I love this. It is so atmospheric. It is technically a Little Red Riding Hood retelling, but it's reading more like Beauty and the Beast to me, which I'm fine with. I love Beauty and the Beast. But it's in this world where the tagline is the first daughter is for the throne, the second daughter is for the wolf. So the main character in here, Red, is the second daughter to be born in centuries, and she's being sacrificed to the wolf, thrown into the woods when she turned 20 because the wolf and the kings in this land have made a deal centuries ago, and it's kind of like a religious thing at this point. So at the point that I'm at right now, she's just walked into the woods, and I really like Red as a character already. She is very strong-willed. She has a pull to magic. I think the roots in the trees, they almost gravitate towards her, and it's really fascinating magic so far. And I haven't met the wolf yet, or she's just meeting the wolf, I think, at the part where I am, and I'm excited to see their dynamic, because that can be really hit and miss for me in these kind of Red Riding Hood, Beauty and the Beast retellings. The relationship between the main character and the beast or the wolf can be a little iffy for me, but I've heard great things about this. I love the atmosphere. Cannot wait to dive further into that. And then I'm also listening to Hold Back the Tide by Melissa Salisbury, I believe. I'll put a photo of the cover here because it's really stunning. And it's a quick audiobook, and it's horror, so I thought it would be a good one to get me into the mood and the spooky vibes. And I haven't seen a lot of people talk about this one. It doesn't have many ratings on Goodreads, but I'm loving this. I'm 50% in, and I just started listening to it yesterday and really this morning. And I can't even really tell you it's about. We're following a girl, and actually the opening chapter, she is telling you how to survive living with a murder, and it's so haunting. Like, you'll be captivated from the first chapter, the first paragraph. So we're following her, and she's living with her father, and they are very secluded from everybody else. Their father seems to be in charge of the water levels, and it's a milling community, so everybody works at this mill, and she is friends with somebody who works at the mill, but her father is a very complicated man, and I don't want to really tell you much more than that. It's really creepy, and things are slowly revealing themselves. Her father has secrets. She thinks that she remembers something from her past, but I'm not so sure that that is true. And it's all starting to unravel, and the townspeople really do not like her father. So yeah, it's creepy so far, and I think it's just going to get creepier and creepier. So I'm really into that one. And I also, today is the 1st, so Libro FM always sends out the ALCs on the 1st of the month, and this month there's so many good ones. The Heart Principle was one of them, which I was not expecting because I think that comes out today. And I literally screamed when I saw that this morning. I'm so excited. That is my most anticipated romance of the year because Helen Huang is my favorite romance author. I love the Kiss Quotient series, and Quan is my favorite character, so this is his story. And I've heard it's a lot deeper than you might expect. So as soon as I'm done Hold Back the Tide, which I'm not going to rush through because I really am loving it, I'm going to start that one, which is not at all the fall spooky vibes, but I cannot wait. And then there's a few more on there. The new Anthony Doerr is on there. I forget what that one's called. It's got a strange name. Put a cover up here. That's on there. and the new David Sedaris is on there. I've only listened to one of David Sedaris' books, but I thought he was hysterical. There was another one I was excited about. I can't remember. But there's some really good ones. I love Libro FM. So if you have, I think it's 1,000 followers on one platform, you can apply for their influencer program. So I'll link all that information below. I think I have an affiliate code or to give you 10%. I don't know. I'll leave that all down below. But yeah, I love Libro FM. So this clip is already 5 minutes long, so I'm going to let you go. I'm going to keep reading this and listen to my audiobook. And I want to show you something about this book later, but I will do that in the next clip. Finished Hold Back the Tide last night, and it actually made me emotional, and I'm discovering that horror books can do that to me, and I don't know what it is. I think they're more impactful and have more layers than you would expect on the surface, and this one definitely did. I have tried to read some monster books in the past and just haven't connected to them like I did to this one. It's definitely a monster book, and it was the perfect length. It was under 300 pages. It's going to be a book that stays with me. This is so underrated. You're going to hear me talk about this book a lot, and really, I don't want to tell you too much about it. Just go read it, and especially in audio. I loved the narrator so much. They had like a Scottish accent, and just love the book. I want to read more by this author because I was moved, I have to tell you, and I just really liked all the side characters as well. I read a lot of books about mother-daughter relationships, but not daughter-father, and they have a complicated relationship in this book, and she thinks something about him, and he's trying to protect her, but he might be a bad guy. He's keeping secrets. There's a lot going on there in their relationship, but I was moved by everything that happened, how it all played out, cried my eyes out at the end. Powerful book, which was a big surprise for me. So highly recommend that one. And then I am about a third into For the Wolf, and I'm not sure how I feel about this yet. I like the writing, the atmosphere. I'm just not sure that I'm connecting with the characters. The relationships are always, in these kind of retellings, it's always hard to win me over with that kind of thing. I do like the way that the author's taking the relationship in this one. It's not as problematic as some of the other Beauty and the Beast, Red Riding Hood retellings that I've read. I'm just like, I don't love this one. I think that is it for Beauty and the Beast, Red Riding Hood retellings for me, because obviously they just won't be for me because the writing in this is incredible. The magic is interesting. I will say that the magic is a bit confusing right now, but it does seem to center around blood. I think it's blood magic, so if that is triggering for you, I wouldn't pick this one up because I haven't seen many people talk about that. But if I don't love this, I have to give up on those kind of retellings because there's so much to like about this. And to be fair, I'm only a third in, so I could really fall for this, but I hope that the magic becomes more clear. Love the world, love the sisterhood. We get alternating perspectives between Red and her twin sister. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. And then I'm gonna listen to The Heart Principle in audio because Libro FM sent that. I'm so excited. And I was also approved for an e-arc for White Smoke by Tiffany D. Jackson. And I'm not a big ebook reader, but it's Tiffany D. Jackson, my favorite author, my most anticipated book of the year. So I also want to squeeze that in sometime this week. But my local coffee shop is releasing one of their fall drinks today. It is a hazelnut biscotti latte. I wonder if I can get that iced, but I'm gonna run down the hill and get that. I am making my way through For the Wolves, and I'm liking it more. I think I'm understanding the magic a little bit more, and it's just, I love the writing. I believe that this is Hannah Winton's debut, and I know this is the first in a series, so no matter what she writes, I will try because her writing's really beautiful, even if I don't love this. I'm actually writing a blog post about different retellings that I love, and I'm going through, I have 4 Peter Pan retellings, I believe, lots of Greek mythology retellings, some Shakespeare. Then I was going through, I couldn't find a single Beauty and the Beast retelling that I liked, and I've read quite a few. And there was another one, Pride and Prejudice, one of my favorite stories. I could only find 2 that I absolutely loved, and I know there are tons out there. There's some on my TBR, some I've read and didn't love. So I think I'm more picky about retellings than I realize. I actually just like random retellings of stories that I'm not attached to. I think that's probably makes a lot of sense. Like House of Salt and Sorrow, that's the 12 Dancing Princesses. I've never read that story. I love that book so much. Anyways, I will link, I think that post will be up way before I post this, so I will leave a link to that blog post down below if you're interested. But I'm going to do one about retellings I didn't like as well, and then retellings on my TBR, because I think retellings, it's interesting conversation, and a lot of books are retellings, some that I didn't even realize were retellings. But anyways, how many times can I say retellings? As I'm sitting here reading this book, I am so ready for fall. So this, I'm sure many of you know about this YouTube channel. It is called Autumn Cozy, and all they do is post ASMR rooms that are fall related, and this is the one that I'm doing right now. It's called Victorian Era Ambiance, soft rain sounds, horses, crows, and bell sounds. I'm gonna play it for you. Like, look at the bugs at the lamppost and everything. It is just so well done. Sets the perfect atmosphere for reading a book like this, and I just love it. I sorted by their most popular, and this was the second most popular. So how long is it? 3 hours. So if you like ASMR rooms, I'll link to their channel down below as well, because these autumn ones, I tried to do some in the summertime, but just the window's good enough for me at the summertime. But these fall ones, I just love them. And it's something about, it's all about the atmosphere when you're in a fall cozy mood. Okay, so I finished For the Wolf a couple of days ago. It is now Saturday, and I had to sit on this one a little bit, but I really did end up liking it. I gave it 3.75, 4 stars, depending on whether I'm on the Storygraph or Goodreads. But it does end on a bit of a cliffhanger. The second book comes out June 9th of next year, I believe, and it's called For the Throne, which intrigues me because the tagline in here is the first daughter is for the throne, the second daughter is for the wolf, and obviously this one is for the wolf, and we follow the second daughter. So I'm thinking the next book we follow Neve, who is Red's sister, and she's actually a more intriguing character to me, so I'm sort of excited to get her story. But I don't think I will read that when it first comes out, because the vibes of this scream fall. To me, it's the perfect book to start your September reading with, so I highly recommend this one. It really turned around for me. I like that it didn't fall into any of the cliches that these retellings can. The romance wasn't my favorite, but it was sweet, and I liked the way that the story went. It was a lot sadder than I was expecting. There was things that happened in here that made me so emotional, and I feel like I'm repeating myself because I felt the same way about Hold Back the Tide, which I also read this week. And then I thought, okay, now what I'm gonna read? She Became the Sun. But I have a feeling this will break my heart as well. So instead, I am listening to The Heart Principle on audiobook thanks to Libro FM, and I'm just gonna stick with that for now, get through that, and then dive into this one. And I also have an e-arc for White Smoke, probably my most anticipated book of the year after Redemptor, and that's like a haunted horror, so that's also darker, but I'm taking my time with that one. I love it. Like, being back with Tiffany D. Jackson's writing is everything. I just love her. She's by far my favorite author. Her and Kazuo Ishiguro, they battle each other. I love them both. They're very different. Anyways, if you haven't read Helen Huang's The Kiss Quotient series, you have to do it. It is brilliant. I love it. It's my favorite romance. I think The Bride Test is my favorite romance book, period. This one might compete with that because I love Kwon. He's the main character in this third book, and he's having he's hooking up with Anna, essentially. I believe it's either Anna or Anne, and she and her boyfriend are on a break. They decide to see other people and then maybe get back together. So she's just looking for a one-night stand basically, and Kwan, obviously they hint at something, some kind of surgery, and that's all he's looking for as well. But there are feelings there, and this is definitely steamy, but it's just really sweet. And a lot of the romances I've read this year have conversations about therapy, and I just really love that. I love that that is happening more and more in fiction and in a lot of romance. Yeah, I'm gonna fly through this one. I started it this morning and I'm 37% of the way through. So I'm gonna sit here, listen to that, work on some stuff, and then I might just start this one on Monday, so next week's vlog. But hopefully I'll get a little bit more into White Smoke. Look at this cat behind me, if you can see him. Anyways, I finished the Heart Principle yesterday. I listened to the entire thing in one day. I listen on at least 2 times speed so I can get through audiobooks pretty quickly, especially if I'm this invested. I knew that I was gonna love this because Helen Huang, I think I said in the last clip, is probably my favorite romance author. The cat's coming to see me. And I feel like I've been waiting for the Heart Principle for years. I thought it was going to come out last year because I think it's been 2 years since the Bride Test came out, and the Heart Principle ended up being my favorite of the 3 books, which is remarkable considering how much I love the Bride Test. But as much as I loved Kwan, I thought Kwan was going to be the selling point of this book for me because he appears in the other 2 books. But it is Anna who is going to be memorable for me, who stands out for me, coffee, who I'm going to be talking about when I talk about this book to other people, when I recommend this book. The romance is secondary in this one, I would say, more than in the other ones. In all of the books, the characters go on journeys and there's lots of self-discovery and growth, but not to the full extent that it is in the Heart Principle. Anna is seeing a therapist, and she is on a journey for her mental health, for sticking up for herself. And I know from the author's note, which was not included in the audiobook, which I think is a shame, but I've seen a lot of reviewers talk about how personal this book was for Helen Huang and how this one's kind of autobiographical, and I could see that in here. It's one of the most vulnerable fiction books I've ever read, one of the most vulnerable romances I've ever read, and it just felt so honest and authentic. I loved it so much. I really thought Kwan was a great character because he has a brother who is on the autism spectrum, so there's no judgment from him in any way. It's kind of lust at first sight, I would say. They have great chemistry. He's very respectful of her. They have important conversations. Yes, Anna makes mistakes, but that's all part of her journey in finding her voice, learning to say no. Her relationship with her family was compelling as well, her relationship with her sister. And there's kind of a journey, like realizing that just because somebody's family doesn't mean that they are good for you. So I think that's an interesting conversation to have. And yeah, lots going on in here. 5 stars, no doubt. I'm having an incredible reading month already. I have 2 5-star books and a 4-star, and I'm reading White Smoke, Tiffany D. Jackson. I don't think I've ever given her books anything less than a 5-star, so I'm already into that. I'm 33% into the ebook. I was reading it in bed this morning, and I'm such a slow ebook reader, so the fact that I'm flying through that says a lot, and it's creepy. Like, I'm feeling it, the tension. It's getting to me like haunted house stories. They're spooky. She's got a stepsister, Piper, who is talking with somebody in the house who does not want our main character, Mari, there, so, it's chilling for sure. I think that's going to be a huge hit, and I love that this is Tiffany D. Jackson's first horror novel. It's incredible. I cannot wait to get my hands on a physical copy of that. And I'm also thinking I'm going to start the audiobook for A Certain Dark Things. Is that what it's called? I'll put a picture here. It's Sylvia Marino Garcia. Yes, she wrote Mexican Gothic. So I know that this is a book that she wrote years ago, and they've just re-released. I love the cover so much, so I don't really know much about it, but I do have an audiobook from NetGalley, so I want to get through that because I think it comes out sometime this month. So that's it. Today is Sunday, but it's a long weekend, so that's it. Today is Sunday, but it's a long weekend, so I'll probably wrap this vlog up tomorrow and let you guys all know how my progress has been with the 2 books that I'm diving into today. Alright, so it's Tuesday, and I just thought I'd come on here and wrap up this vlog. I meant to update you yesterday, but I was so engrossed in White Smoke by Tiffany D. Jackson that I kind of just wanted to finish it so I can come up in here and tell you how I felt about it. And of course I gave it 5 stars. I give everything that Tiffany D. Jackson writes 5 stars. I don't know what it is about her writing that just works for me. I speed through her books. They are very memorable. It's not one of those ones you read quickly and then you forget all about. These are books I think about all the time. And White Smoke won't be any different because this is her first try at horror and she absolutely nailed it. I think people will have mixed feelings on the ending because don't read this if you want all the answers. That's all I will say, but I thought it was genius. Only Tiffany D. Jackson could pull that off in such a compelling way. And really this is at its core a haunted house story, but there's so much more at play here. There's interesting conversations about race, about community, about family, and the wealthy. You just have to read it. If you loved Ace of Spades, which I know is so popular and I adored as well, and everybody's reading right now, I think this is a good read alike for that one. Because I do think that Tiffany D. Jackson compares this book to Get Out, and it definitely has that vibe. And I just thought it was brilliant. The family in here is interesting. Marigold, our main character, has a stepfather and a stepsister, Piper, and the sister is a little bit creepy. You know that horror trope with the creepy young girl? That's definitely happening here, and she's terrifying at moments, but she also has a brother, Sammy, and their dynamic is what adds some lightness to the story. They have a complicated relationship because of Mari's past and some of the stuff that she has put her brother through, but they're so sweet together. But there's just so much to love in here, so much to be creeped out by. I couldn't read it at night, and that doesn't happen to me a lot. My cats would make a noise and I'd spook. It's really spooky. It's so well done. So that's a great book to read in October, and I think that comes out next week, so it might be out by the time that I post this. So yeah, highly recommend White Smoke, my most anticipated book of the year, and it definitely delivered. So now we're 7 days into September, and I've read 4 books, and they were all pretty good. So the first one was Hold Back the Tide. I gave that 5 stars. I thought it was excellent and very underrated. When I read For the Wolf, that's a 4-star read for me. I love the atmosphere. It's one that really has grown on me, and I'm excited for the sequel. And then I listened to The Heart Principle, 5 stars, one of my favorite romances ever, though I do think that it's more about Anna's journey than it is a romance. So go into that one knowing that, because I've seen some readers being disappointed by that. And then White Smoke, one of my favorite horrors ever. It's really making you realize how layered horror is. I think I said that about Hold Back the Tide as well, but horror is quickly becoming one of my top 5 genres, if not my top 3. So yeah, I need to explore that genre more. And that is it. I am going to start a new vlog now. So if you've read any of these books, please let me know. I want to talk about them in the comments, or let me know what the first book of September is that you read, because talking about books is my favorite thing. So let's have a chat in the comments. Thanks for your time. I'll see you next week.